definitely all about the woo-woo stuff, okay? You guys know this if you've been listening to the podcast at all. I do believe in energies and all of that kind of stuff. So I thought it would be a lot of fun since we are now starting a little new mini series on the So She Slays Instagram profile about auras and that kind of stuff. We're having an aura reader come in, and I know some of you are like, what? But give it a chance, give it a thought. She actually does really great work. You know, we always talk about self-awareness and how if you know yourself, you're able to then operate better, whether you're in life or in business. And she talks about how you can know your auras and what they can tell you so that you know how to then act and carry out the things that you need to carry out, or even just act in life and in business as well. Knowledge is power, y'all. So sit back. We're going to take a nice little tour into Auras 101 with Allie Berry. Hey, Slay Nation. We are back with another episode of the So She Slays podcast. I'm your co-host, Heather. And today I am with Allie Berry. She is a psychic and an aura reader. And before y'all go, what? Woo-woo stuff and all that kind of stuff, I just want to, today's episode is just going to be really fun. And it's for all of you who are super interested in this kind of stuff. I'm interested in this stuff. I've talked about it before myself. So Allie, go ahead and just introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Allie Berry, and like Heather said, I'm a psychic and an aura reader. I work with energy. I help people just connect with their spiritual gifts and help them move through any blocks they have and really connect with that core, like energetic side of themselves and using it to just like thrive and do amazing things.
Now, and when we say like blocks and all that kind of stuff, because a lot of times, like, I mean, you're going to hear us talk about mindsets. You're going to hear us talk about, you know, self-awareness and that kind of thing. And we always say, you know, you operate best when you are aware of yourself and you know how to conduct yourself. Now, we're not just saying in life, but this also applies to business and how you're operating in your business. I mean, the more you know about yourself, the better, right? That way you know how to take care of yourself and take advantage of certain things that come your way.
Totally.
Definitely. Yeah. Right. Okay, so let's hop right into this. Now, for those of us who do not know, what's an aura?
Okay, so the aura is basically the electromagnetic field around the body, right? And so when you hear about auras, people will talk about like, oh, they'll see different colors and they mean different things. And so it's basically just like your energy and like your essence and like just like at your core, like who you are on a energetic like vibe level. And there's different parts of the aura, like, you know, like our hearts, our emotions, there's different layers. And yeah, that's basically what it is, just the electromagnetic field around the body. And it shows up. Some people are able to interpret it through color or even like different symbols. And yeah.
Okay. So, let's just dive in. Like, what exactly are we seeing? What are the colors? What are the symbols? And what do they mean?
So you want me to go through like each color and just kind of give
I
a
mean, we
basic?
can. Can we start from like the head down or something?
Yeah, for sure. So basically, so like our red auras, like reds, it's a very intense color. A lot of times these people, they're very confident and assertive. It also rules like your sexuality and sensuality and really being connected with your physical body and this physical reality. So a lot of times people who are dominant reds, you know, they're very connected with their bodies and feel comfortable in this more like physical world and navigating life in that way. And yeah, and so I kind of think we think of like A-type personalities. They're just go-getters and they're not afraid to just like, you know, be really out with who they are. Orange, oftentimes when I see orange in someone's aura, it really rules creativity and life force energy, that energy that's like just feeling alive and being in flow and being able to tap into inspiration and creativity. A lot of times these people also aren't afraid to be a little weird and be a little different and do unique things and be a little rebellious. So they're really good with being like system breakers and breaking from tradition and thinking in a new outside of the box way. And with our yellow auras, they are just pure energy. They are very motivating. They have a lot of energy to like do what they need to do. And when they're in alignment and when they're really like rooted in who they are, they're very clear on what their purpose is. They're able to take inspired action. They're very free spirited. They're probably that person that's like kind of the life of the party, and they're not afraid to be center of attention. When you're around them, like they help people feel comfortable and open up, and they're just like, I always give the example as like a joke, like, you know, when you do freshman orientation when you go to college, and the
Yeah.
people who are leading it, they're like playing music and they're like, okay, we're gonna play games, we're gonna do this, like get to know you games, and they're just like
About it.
blah, 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 like yeah, that's them. Yeah.
Oh my
But yeah.
gosh.
And then our green auras, it's really rules like balance, like learning to balance your heart and your mind. So people who have this natural color, they are able to be like really smart and intellectual and logical, but also be very emotionally intelligent. And or it's like it shows up as like, okay, it's time to learn those things. So they're good with balance and harmony, and just like they're very grounded, and they're able to just really like cut through the bullshit and get things done. And they're very growth minded. They're good in business because they it kind of rules like growth and abundance and things like that. Our blue auras, it's the healing color. I always say it's like the healer's aura. Like people who have a lot of blue, they're often like nurses or therapists or even like spiritual healers and things like that. And it's like just that comforting, like they're that person, like you feel like you can like open up to them and they won't judge you, and they're just like really comforting energy. And then with our purple auras, this is really ruled by like spirituality. These people are visionaries. They're able to see things that like other people don't see, and like often have like spiritual and like psychic abilities, and they're just yeah, just really by spirituality and all that fun stuff.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So now that we kind of like broke it down, um, now I have like a whole bunch of questions in this world, because it's, how do we like, are we several different colors at once? Do we have a dominant color? Because when I've talked to people about auras, a lot of times it's a mixture, it's a blend.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree. So I always say the aura is like a mood ring. Like depending on what you're going through, at least when I'm like reading people, there's like, okay, these are your like your core colors that are kind of just like who you are. But like we're so complex and so multi-layered as human beings, like, and trying to fit people in like, oh, you're just this one color. And so there's a lot of different colors and different things depending on where you are. It's changing, you can change it. And if you want to like tap into a new type of energy. And yeah, so it just we kind of have all the colors, but some are more dominant than others.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so when you are looking at someone, or you have a client and you're working with somebody and you're getting to know them, what's this process like so that they can begin to learn about themselves in order to operate better?
Right. So when I do, I just like feel into who they are as a person, and like because for me I see colors and different symbols and things like that, but I also feel in my body like, okay, it feels like this. And it's almost kind of like a movie playing in my head, if that makes sense, like when you see images in your mind. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm like connecting energetically with this person, whatever shows up, and like being able to read deeper into symbols and things like that. And what was the second part of your question? Sorry.
I want to know like just how the process works so that they know like what they're able to do in order to, achieve whatever it is they're going after.
Right. So it really depends on the person, whatever comes up. I can give you an example. Like I recently had worked with someone and I had no idea who they were, and they really wanted to like work through transition into doing a creative type career. And so with that, it's like I saw that, like, wow, they have so much creative energy and so much going on, but it felt like blocked. It felt like it was being stifled. And so we really talked about ways like, okay, I feel like there's a fear, and a lot of the fear is coming from other people her family didn't approve. So it was like we worked through ways that she could, as you know, on her own, start to feel comfortable and confident enough to like just tap into that energy and start living that life that she wanted to live. Because even though it was like showing up in a way that's like, oh, it's not in its fullest expression, that orange energy also helps you to be bold and just do what you want and like live your own path. And so with that, I really try to help people see that, like, yeah, it's kind of like this energy may seem like it's in like its shadow form, as I like to say, or if it's not like being expressed in a way that's like helpful, it in how do I explain this? Like that energy can be like flipped into something positive, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
you can do a shift.
Like it's like two sides of the same coin. It's like you just need to shift it to that more like empowering side of that energy.
Okay. So now that we kind of know a little bit about this, I mean, we're kind of talking about like auras 101, right? So can everybody see auras? Can some people how do we do this? If we're trying to do this, do we go to somebody who does this?
Right. If you've never, I think it's always amazing to go to someone who knows what they're doing and help you like get an idea. But we are all intuitive beings. And I think each of us can learn how to see things. Like a lot of times, like people will say, oh, just put your hand in front of like a white wall and just like gaze at it until you start seeing things. I don't do it that way, me personally. I don't like see like with my physical eyes. It's like in my mind. And so, how I would approach it if you're wanting to tap into this more and see if this is kind of the way your intuition works, is really starting to notice like what is coming up in your mind when you see things and really notice like start to like record different like intuitive moments. Like we all have gut instincts. We all have moments that are like we sense something, but then something happens and making sure to record that like in a journal or something and start to notice patterns, start to notice, oh, when this happened, like I felt like this. And you'll start to see, oh, my intuition is actually speaking to me all the time. You know what I mean?
Mm,
And
mm.
so noticing the patterns, I think meditation is also really powerful because you start to cultivate self-awareness. Like I didn't know, like for me, I didn't know that like I had this gift for a while because I was like, oh, this is just my brain. My brain is just thinking of like random things. And once I started to like bring more self-awareness to like how I think, the things I feel, and like being more in my body, I started to notice I was getting messages like all the time, but just wasn't making the connection.
Wow. Okay. I am a huge advocate of so like when this happens to me, so I can't see auras. I know people are gonna be like listening to this and be like, Heather, you're tripping. But like I'm not I am the type of person, I'm very intuitive. I've
Mm-hmm.
always had a really strong instinct.
Yeah.
And I've always listened to it because the times I didn't, it went all sideways. It was not good. I highly recommend you listen to that little inner voice. Um, Anywho, but for me, when I do it,
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot of I only get it when I meditate. Other
Mm.
than that, like if I meditate and I can only see my own colors. Like the
Mm-hmm.
other day, so when I first started seeing it, it was like purple, right? I would get like purple. And then the other day when I was doing it, it was yellow.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, okay, there's certain, and then I'm a big Googler because I don't know all of this stuff. And I'm like, okay, what do these colors mean? What am I feeling? Oh, that is kind of like where I'm at right now. It's kind of how I'm feeling. Okay, okay. And then you just chalk it up to like the universe and the energies and all of that, just trying to communicate or reassure how you're feeling, right? But I've always wondered like how people actually feel when they start talking about their auras and that kind of stuff. So, what has been your experience and like success and all this kind of stuff with your clients and helping them and that kind of stuff?
Like the results they get from
Yeah,
doing
yeah, because I know a lot of people are going to be like, Heather, this is not concrete.
it. Yeah, I mean, whenever I've done aura readings with people, the big theme is they leave feeling more clear and more like empowered because it's like I think it's so like I think it's important for us to like hype ourselves up, believe in ourselves, but like to have someone mirror back to you, this is what I see in you. These are all the gifts and strengths. These are all the amazing things about who you are. Like that can be so, like I said, like empowering to be like, okay, other people are seeing this too. And now I feel more clear about what I got going for me. I have a roadmap. I have an idea of like what I need to do to like work on anything that's like not really going for me right now, because that's also what we discuss. And yeah, so I think that's I feel like in this session it's more to bring like awareness and to help people connect with that side of themselves. But I want people to feel like they can move forward and do what they need to do, and not just rely, okay, like I need to get like an aura reading every to tell me what to do, but it's like you leave feeling like you have those tools and you're like reconnected with that part of yourself.
Yeah. No, definitely. I can totally understand that. And I mean, it's kind of like why people love to kind of go get their cards read or go get to like a fortune teller of some sort. But I think too, I think it's just like another level of self-awareness to practice. Now, when you I kind of want to get back into, this or like auras, because I know it's still so abstract to some people. So, aura 101 here. We already discussed what it is and what the colors are. So, let's deep dive a little bit into like what are a lot of the characteristics that you can see in, different types of people, whether it be type A or you have maybe someone in the service industry or, those types of like career categories, I say, for lack of better terms, and then what exactly you tend to find.
So I feel like I kind of mentioned like with yellow auras, they almost always are in types of careers that are like sales, like really people oriented because they're really good with people. So almost always they do some type of marketing or like sales or like doing something where like they're working with people a lot because they have that energy and they have that more extroverted
Mm-hmm.
energy. And so, and I also want to preface like any color can be in any type of career, but this is just kind of like what I see a lot. And um like with purple auras as well, I think they make really good like people, like they're good at like seeing the big picture, and they have that natural like visionary tendency, and so they're able to create like a huge vision for whether it's like a company or starting something brand new or like a movement.
I'm gonna
And
definitely agree with that. That is me. When I said I saw
yes.
purple the other day, I was just like, "Yep, makes total sense."
And like because you run So She Slays, and
Hmm.
I don't know the whole story of how it came to be, but I'm sure you had this huge idea when you
Oh, we got
before you
lots of
started it.
visioning happening right now, so I think that's why it came out even more.
And it's such a powerful color because you're able to navigate like a lot of obstacles, and you're able to do things that people who may be more like on the ground, like making it happen, like more action oriented people might be like, that sounds crazy, but you're like, no, it's gonna work, trust me, I'm intuitive, I'm a vision, like I
Girl,
get
I
it,
cannot
it's not
even
gonna
tell
make
you how
sense.
many times I've been saying that over the last like month or two. I'm like, it's gonna work, trust me. It's gonna work, trust me. Just like just trust me, okay? Just trust me.
Yes. And I think that's kind of like the struggle of people who are dominant purple auras, I am also as well, is that you kind of have to like you have to like the people who work for you, because you're not, I don't know if you're this way, but like you're not always best at like being the person who's like, oh, like I'm answering emails, I'm doing all the like really
It's
technical
not
things.
the like the detail oriented stuff.
Purple auras, it's not their strength. And so sometimes like when you're working with the people who are like our green auras or our red auras who are really good at stuff like that, and even our yellow auras, it like you can sometimes butt heads because they're like, okay, but this isn't practical for like all these steps we're gonna have to do to break it down. But you're like, guys, like you said, trust me, I know it sounds crazy, but like this is the vision, and over time it's just going to work, it's going to be amazing. It may at times seem like it's not working, but you have your intuition, you have those things to like guide you and navigate through the whole journey of it all coming to fruition.
Oh my gosh, same. Okay, so here's my thing too. It's like, okay, so I do have like a very dominant purple. I know that, but I do know that it does change sometimes, and especially with my other job. So another job, like if you've been listening to the podcast, you know that I work in video production, and so there's a lot of detail stuff that I do as like a production coordinator and producer. It's like it's all about the details, right? And I'm coordinating and emailing and making sure people are there on time and they have what they need. I'm like everybody's mother, I feel like. Um So that's interesting that you say though that like, dominant purple people don't actually normally have that. But then that goes into my question of like the blending of colors, and does it change when you're doing
Yeah.
different things?
Right. And so if you, let's say, we'll keep going with the dominant purple example. If you're wanting to be more that like practical, like grounded, doing those, and if you need to do those things, like you could tap into like green aura energy, because green, it has that side of like being connected to like just being really grounded and logical and just like cutting through any of the bullshit. And when you have to like get stuff done, like green auras are really amazing at stuff like that. And so you can start like doing practices to help you like cultivate that energy more on an energetic level, through like I always say like visualize it. Like if you're meditating, obviously like you were saying, you connected with your energy and it was like
Mm-hmm.
purple, and it's like you can start being like, okay, like I want to connect with green. I want to have more green. So I'm start visualizing those things. What is this? How does this color make me feel? Like, what does it mean for me? Like the different things that it represents. Like, where do I feel like I have resistance with this energy? Because that's going to tell you a lot about why it might be a struggle for you to do those
And
things.
how does like that turn up? Because I know a lot of people are gonna just be like, okay, I'm sitting, I'm meditating. Let's think of a color. You know what I mean? Like, let's just think of a color. And then we start thinking of a color and they're like, okay, well, I don't really know what to do with this.
Right. And honestly, I feel like when you're working with energy, like you said, it's kind of abstract. So at first it might be like nothing's happening. But making it a practice and just doing it, you're going to start to notice like your relationship with it will change. And even like not experience anything, feeling nothing when you connect to this energy is saying something. It could be saying like, oh, I'm like really disconnected from this. And then you can dig a little deeper. It's like, oh, what is my relationship to being practical? What is my relationship to, having to do whatever it is you feel like you're not very good at? And you can start reflecting and being like, okay, like what is my relationship? How was I taught growing up? Like what was I taught about these things? And that's also gonna give you an idea of like what could be blocking you from connecting to it, if that makes sense.
Okay. What are some examples of blocks that people run into?
Well, there's so many.
You're like, do
It
we
really
have all
depends on
day?
the
Do
person.
we have all day? Depends on the person.
Yeah.
Um, what are common ones that like if you're trying to make a career change and all that kind of stuff, what are some common ones that you're finding in people?
I find a common one for me when I work with people is just like a lack of clarity and being like confused and fear. Fear, of course, is a
There's a
common thing.
huge
It's
player.
huge. Yeah. And so I think a lot of times people will be like, they'll have an idea of what they want, but then they get caught up in like, well, what if this happens and I find a position and I don't like it and I have to start all over again? Or, oh, would I really be good at this? Or, finding the right fit and not sure. It's like getting caught up in all the what ifs. And in those situations, I always encourage people to really root into your desire. What do you really want? Because it's like confusion, it's like you're really stuck in your head. And so being rooted and really grounded in your desires is what's going to carry you through, because you'll be able to be like, this isn't aligned with that. I'm not even going to waste my time or this. And really having that awareness around what you truly desire is really super powerful, because you're just not going to say yes to anything that doesn't align with that. So it like clears a lot of any confusion and honestly fear, because you're like, this is what I truly want and I love this for me and I want this for me, and I'm not going to let doubt or fear or confusion get in the way.
Yeah, 100%. I think like the clarity on things, when you have clarity about anything, I feel like that's like you stepping into your power more because then you know how to operate, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think too, at least when it comes to business, um, when you are positive that this is what you want, I think you can be flexible about how you get there, But just knowing that you're going towards that goal, right?
Yeah.
And then it's interesting though. So do people come to you for their personal life as well?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I think, you know, in a reading, I know if I don't know the person beforehand, I have no idea what they're needing. And so that's why, we read. I say, don't say anything. Let me read. And then I'll tell you what I see. And then we'll talk about what resonates, what doesn't. And so, yeah, does that answer your question? Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Well, because the thing is too, it's like, I mean, a lot of people, they're if they're dominant in one area, they're not dominant in the other. That's what
Right.
I've come to find. I'm
Mm-hmm.
also speaking upon experience. But I also have a lot of friends who who have that same issue. So it's always interesting to see now how do auras relate to, I mean, yes, we know about how they relate to personalities and then maybe how we pick our jobs and that kind of stuff, but what else do auras relate to?
So, yeah, they relate to everything.
You're
Like
like everything, life in
yes,
general.
everything has like an energy to it. And so sometimes I've done like actually my sister right now, I'd always do like love readings for her. So like
Mhm.
when she was dating, I would like read the aura of the guy she was talking to make sure he was like safe, or like um also just kind of like reading into, okay, like let's look into like what is your love aura, like what's going on here with your love life, and like reading that and like seeing, okay, here's like the strengths, here's kind of like, what is in a disempowered place. And so like let's focus on that and help you feel more empowered. Or yeah, you can pretty much read anything. I feel like for me in aura readings, I really focus on more that other thing, like having it be like a self-discovery and like a self improvement type thing, more
Mm,
than like, oh, this is your personality. It's like, let's look at this issue and like let's look deeper and see what's going on an energetic level,
mm.
and it usually illuminates more of what's going on and helps people be like, okay, yeah, that's the issue, let's
So
focus
how
on
do
that.
those like things show up for you? I mean, are they just like different colors? Are there like whole
Oh yeah.
auras or like what is it?
Mhm. So basically, it's like if I'm reading something that's beyond just like someone's like actual aura, it's more like symbols, sometimes it's colors. And I always say that like I don't control what shows up. Like I'm just kind of like the vessel here. And so symbols sometimes it can show up like on the body, like it maybe the aura is just like right in their head. And that lets me know that they're intellectualizing it and they need to drop more into their body. They need to drop more into their heart. And where it shows up on the body says a lot. Sometimes I see like different symbols like animals or different plants or different things like that. Like I see lately, I've been seeing a lot of doves in people's, like when I tap into that. And obviously it represents peace and things like
Mm-hmm.
that, but on a deeper level as well, it's really a sign of like really cultivating that inner stillness and that space that you return to again and again. It's a lot of times for people who have crazy schedules and need to go back to that still place and cultivating that, whether through meditation or breath work, and creating like that safe space and time to just be still and listen to that like place, and going back to basics, if that makes sense, and like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
being, because we can get lost in like a lot of like just life, and
Yeah.
being able to connect to that part of yourself keeps you grounded, so.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess like my thing is like whenever I've talked to somebody about auras,
Mm-hmm.
they kind of describe it as like the I guess if you've ever looked at like a Jesus picture, it's like
Mm-hmm.
the light that's around,
Right.
right?
Right.
That's how they've always described it to me.
Mm.
Um so they always like, so when are you saying that like it's like how you see it is like it's like that, but like if there's a certain big color in one place, then you're just like, okay, this is what that means, like your example of the purple.
Right. Yes. And so I think when people are talking about that, it's like that physical aura around the body.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like there's that. And then if you're reading anything else, like a situation or a certain part of someone's life, I kind of it's like a movie for me in my head. I don't know how other people
It's so
do their
interesting how
thing.
other people see it. I feel like it's almost a little different for everybody.
It is. And so it's like an energy represented at through like a symbol, if that makes sense.
Mm,
And so I'm trying to think of more examples because I feel like that helps it make more sense. But yeah, like I remember a few years ago, I a friend of mine was like fired from his job, and it was like a really good job, and he was like scared and he didn't know what to do. He's like, how am I going to pay for things? And I'm like, okay, like let me read. And so I remember seeing like for him like a deer, it was like wandering through a dark forest, and in the forest he comes, and it was like a clearing, and the moon was really bright, and like it felt like the stag, it was like, antlers really strong, like, and it represented for him like tapping into his inner strength and not letting his insecurities get the best of him, and knowing, and just through that I was like, okay, you're gonna get a new job like really soon, like within the week. And he was, and just to like really, because for him he would really like get caught up in his insecurities and not really use his gifts in his job. And so like that was really showing like you have that inner strength that will carry you through and all these things. And he found a job within like 48 hours, and
oh
was
my
there for like
goodness.
for like a couple years. And so, it's really about like being able to read symbols and having like creating your own like encyclopedia of symbols.
Yeah,
And it also
definitely.
depends on like how I feel as well.
Okay. Okay. So I know that there's going to be a lot of skeptics out there. I'm sure you run into your fair share of skeptics. How do you deal? And like, what exactly do you kind of say? Because I think, yes, you have to be open minded to a certain degree to kind of like understand this. But I think also, too, like, when you're practicing self awareness and all this kind of stuff, you want to be, it's a little abstract.
Right. Totally. Totally. So for me, I always say that it's okay. Not everyone has to like believe. And I don't know. I guess for me it's like if it doesn't resonate you, that's totally fine. You know what I mean? And but also like we're working with energy. We're working with a more spiritual side of things. And that's not something that you can like physically see with your eyes. It's something that you start to work with, and it's like you feel, and something that you cultivate. So for me, I'm always like, if it's not your cup of tea, that's okay.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So to kind of like wrap this up a little bit, I want to talk about, how people can get in touch with you and then what exactly like you do for the clients that you work with. And then yeah, what do they get out of this whole thing?
Right. So you can connect with me on Instagram at I am Allie Berry is my like Instagram. And that's where I mostly post things. But my offerings, I offer, of course, aura readings, and these are like deep dives into your aura and your energy and everything that's going on. That is really focused, like I said earlier, to help you get clarity and just feel more empowered when you leave. And then I have something called inner alchemy sessions. And these are basically like inner child work. I don't know if you've ever talked about
Ooh,
that
no.
on the podcast. And these sessions are really aimed to like help you identify your limiting subconscious beliefs. So working with the subconscious mind and doing emotional processing and really helping to like move through blocks. So if you do an aura reading and you feel like we talk about something that's like, oh, I have this huge, block or insecurity that I want to work through, the inner alchemy session is where we dive deep into that and like help to like reprogram that. And it's an inner child session because we go back, everything that we believe about ourselves, like our subconscious, everything was formed in childhood, right?
Mm,
And so we never really learn how to break out of that and how to like just relearn,
calibrate. Yeah.
yeah, recalibrate. And so doing these sessions and doing the subconscious work helps you to like just reprogram your subconscious basically. And because that's, if for people who aren't familiar with the subconscious, it really kind of runs everything. Like it has like beliefs and different things that it learned back when you were younger from whether positive or negative experiences, and that kind of like drives everything in our viewpoint on ourselves and life. And so at your core, if you kind of have these beliefs of like, I'm not worthy or I'm not good enough, that's why you can do affirmations and do all these things over and over again and nothing changes, because like that's just your conscious brain saying
Yeah.
it over and over again. So anyway, so it's a deep dive, and those ones are really helpful and really powerful, and I do those a lot as well, to help clients really on a deep level break through these like negative patterns that they're in. So yeah.
That's awesome. I look, it's all about the mindset. I can't even tell you how much in my visioning of, the next steps for, growing So She Slays and like the things that are happening, how much mindset plays in this and how much your mind tends to try and sabotage you.
Yes.
Oh my geez. I have never like really realized that power. And it's like until you actually can put words and recognize it, and you're like, oh my gosh, stop it. Shut up. Why are you
Yeah.
thinking that?
Yes.
It's
Yes.
a thing. It's a thing. Okay, so say your Instagram handle again one more time, and then if there's anything else that people can look for you at.
Yeah, so it's I am Allie Berry on Instagram. And I also have a TikTok, which is Allie Aura. So if you're on TikTok, you can go over there for more
Oh my gosh.
intuition tips.
Yes, love it. Thank you so much for joining us, Allie. And then also too, for those who pay attention to our Instagram, Allie's gonna start hopping on about once a month to kind of, talk auras and all of that stuff with y'all. So stay tuned because I'm sure y'all have your own questions, right? All right, Slay Nation, until next time, we'll catch you later.